and welcome back to another episode of Power Rangers Lore. Today we'll be discussing Trakeena, Queen of Darkness, heir apparent of Scorpius, and, well, the most ruthless lady out there in the stars. But you may be asking, who is Trakeena? Well, that is a good question. If you watched Power Rangers in the early 2000s and 1990s, well, you would know who she is. However, if you are a newer fan of the Power Rangers franchise, you might not know who she is. She is not the same one who made the impact like Lord Zed, Raider Repulsa from the old days that is still talked about today, but she made a big impact in her own way, and well, I'll tell you why. Her first instance of appearing is in the series Lostgalaxy. She is the daughter of the galactic ruler, warlord, and well, essentially, basically felt like a mob boss to me, Scorpius, and an unknown female. Now, we don't know what race her mother was, but we can kind of guess she wasn't the same race as Scorpius. Could have been, but I doubt it, because we don't know their exact species or anything else, or have seen anything else later, but we can assume that Scorpius may have fell in love with another humanoid entirely. We don't even know if he was actually married to the other humanoid, but we can kind of guess that maybe, that's why I kind of think it was a mob boss or something like that, he had a concubine of some sort, and they gave birth to Trakeena, taking on the aspects of a beautiful human woman and its insectoid features. That's why I don't think she was fully, ever truly, kind of what Scorpius is. However, that did not stop him from loving her in spite of her human features. He saw her as his heir apparent, his evil princess that would eventually inherit his alien army, and spared no expense to spoil and protect her no matter what it was. She could do no wrong, but he could still punish her when he thought that she was going to overstep herself or get hurt. But because of being spoiled and protected, she didn't feel like she was being treated correctly. She didn't like being treated as a child as she grew older. She basically just kept saying, "Dad, let me do things. I can prove it. I can actually do things." However, he knew deep down that she wasn't ready. And in truth, she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready to take over for himself. He hadn't groomed her correctly into take over the family business. Now, we don't know how old she was at this time, but we know she was around in her teenage years. Teenage for that race could be anything, but we kind of guessing she was still pretty young. It could be anywhere between 15 to 20. We don't know exactly at all. She was not considered an adult by the standards of her species or her father's species, as far as we can understand, because they had to go through a cocoon process to take over that adult stage. Now, if she is only this young, we don't know what happened to her mother or anything else, so there is that. But we also can figure out why she's so naive and think that she can do things when she really can't. Now, it was not like she didn't know how to fight. However, everyone she basically fought against was either one of her father's minions or the like, and they were always pulling her punches. So it gave her a hyper sense of her own strength. She believed that she was better than she was, and it would later turn out to be really apparent to her that she maybe wasn't fully ready when the Rangers showed up. Now, she would always watch as her generals failed and failed and failed over and over again to prove to her father that, well, they were good enough to take on the Power Rangers. They failed over and over again, died, and were replaced. Now, she wanted to make a name for herself and prove to her father that she was, well, ready. And one of those cases is when General Trakeena, as he's called, would allow Trakeena to come with him and almost get her injured. However, he got her out of there, and when confronted by Scorpius, he said that Trakeena followed him into battle just to save his own neck. Basically, he was trying to go, "Hey, it wasn't me. Your princess, she followed me. I couldn't stop her or anything else. I was already in battle when it started." And Scorpius got upset and was like, pointing at Trakeena, "You can't do this. It's not time yet. You're not ready. You could have got hurt. You could have died." And this really upset Trakeena because she was starting to see his Trakeena as okay, he knows he's an actual warrior. I can learn from him. I can go in, get this jobs done. And then she finds out he's just two-faced as any of the other minions that her father employs. And he goes, "You know what? I'm going to get back at him." And so she sets him up to take the fall later on. Now, she convinced another monster named Imposterar, an imposter monster, to basically trick and disguise himself as Trakeena to steal something and become more powerful. she convinced her father that Trakeena was a traitor and had him lock him up because of this whole switcheroo thing with the imposter monster. Now, this feud would continue on as Trakeena realized that it was Trakeena who had set him up and goes, okay, you want to play that game? I will play that game just as enough. But she thought she was safe and clever and done with. However, she didn't realize that he had allies, the Shark Brothers, some ninja space ninjas. Yeah, that didn't sound very well. Ninja space ninjas, shark space ninjas, and basically went on her own way to trick Trakeena and have her almost get destroyed. And there on out, he broke out of his cell, and she was only saved from Trakeena and her shark minions by the Galaxy Rangers themselves. She was saved by her father's mortal enemies. How does that make her look even weaker than normal? Scorpius, constantly seeing her in a sense of danger and almost dying at this point, decides, you know what, it's time for her to enter the cocoon, become an adult, and gain her strength, gain her powers, so that she can be like him and he doesn't have to fully protect her constantly, and this is what she wants. However, she doesn't want to lose her mortal beauty. She's very vain. She's the pretty princess. Everything's done for her. She doesn't want to break a nail. This causes her to run away from home, and she flees to the planet Onyx, which we've seen in Power Rangers in Space, to the exact tavern. There's a Western-style planet, and this tavern is, it's full of ruffians, ruthless patrons. Even the worst of the worst have been there. Bounty hunters, evil warlords, the scum of the earth, or scum of the galaxy, where she almost dies because those ruthless patrons she picks a fight with, thinking that she's stronger than she is. She gets beat up, thrown out, and she gets confronted by two others, Villamax and Kegler. Now, Kegler isn't one to throw down with a fight. However, Villamax is someone big. He is the toughest hombre in the entire planet, probably. He's a good standing warrior, probably one of the best on there, and is hard to basically deal with for anyone on that planet. Now, he takes her under his wing, offering to train her to be a great warrior, teaching her swordplay, martial arts, and the ability to control her emotions. He's trying to make her become something greater than she was, and he takes it to full heart. She looks at him and sees, like, you know what, maybe you are right. And she takes the time, listens to him carefully, becomes a truly incredible fighter, and uses her newfound strength to destroy everyone in the tavern that ever gave her trouble. So, she goes, okay, Villamax, I understand what you did. You're going to be my right-hand man when I go back to my father. Kegler, you can come too because you gave me wise sage advice. And there's a growing stage as a villain. Usually as monsters or as Power Rangers we see as the heroes grow up, we don't see it on the villain side. They usually stay evil the entire time. Trakeena here has gone forth and grown up as from a teenager to actually an adult, learning these issues and growing stronger because of it. Well, either emotionally and also physically. Now, the next part of the hero's journey, or villain's journey, would be when she basically takes this big victory and goes, yes, I've beat the people here, I've proven I'm the strongest. However, she immediately receives word that her father is dying. Her father had been tricked by the new general, Deviat, to attack the Galaxy Rangers and is gravely wounded in battle. Now, why did he attack the Galaxy Rangers? Because Deviat told him that they killed his daughter. That Deviat went looking for her, and he found that the Rangers had slain her. This ticked off Scorpius, and he went after them hardcore, fought them in a big battle, and was struck down. Now the Rangers were forced to flee, of course, but this meant Deviat was going to take over. This is what he was planning. He wanted Scorpius out of the way so he could go in, grab the cocoon, and become the heir apparent to this empire that Scorpius had built. Now, he did not expect, Trakeena to arrive back. He thought she was long gone, and even if she did come back, he could kill her easily. But she wasn't dead, and she came back and was 10 times stronger than she was before, with a new general and an aide. Now, as he lay dying, he willed her everything that he could, basically, to Trakeena's hands. He made a staff and sealed it into it and goes, this is yours, this is the last of my powers. You are the one true ruler of my empire. And this pisses off Deviat, who kind of just storms out, and Trakeena is just flabbergasted. She cries in her tears for her father as he passes away. Now, as for the cocoon, she puts that in storage as feeling that she didn't need it. She goes, my father thought I could get more powerful. I've already proven that I am more powerful without it. Also, she's probably still a little vain in the sense that she doesn't want to lose her mortal features. The last human bits of her will be gone and replaced entirely by an insect. So she kind of just puts it in storage. She goes, just in case I might need it, because my father did will this to me, I'm going to keep it safe, but I don't want to use it. Now, with all the resources of her father at her command, she plots vengeance against TerraVenture, the Galaxy Rangers, and anyone else who crosses her path. Now, Deviant tells her that, hey, Scorpius was killed by the Rangers, but mainly the one who finished the final blow was the Red Galaxy Ranger, Leo. And she goes, you know what? I'm going to capture him. I'm going to face him hand-to-hand combat in a duel, and I'm going to defeat him. And Deviant's like, oh, okay, go ahead. I'm fully for that. And then he realizes that maybe, just maybe, she would be a top dog. If she wipes out the Rangers, she becomes even greater in power and even bigger name for herself. And he starts to going, maybe I need to figure out another way to deal with this. So he hires 2 assassins, Kubok and Teska. Sorry. I have to rewatch the episodes to fully pronounce her name, but that's pretty much it. Now, one goes after Trakeena, that'd be Teska, and basically he destroys her. No, sorry, she destroys him with ease. Doesn't even breathe a sweat. She just fully takes him out. Ticked off that her fight is interrupted, and the Kubok goes after the Rangers. Now, she leaves and goes, you know what? You can deal with this. You can fight them. I'm going to figure out who's the guy trying to kill me. This is BS. Now, before Teska could actually lay the final blow, she knocks him down and kind of uses her staff to destroy him almost. But she goes, who hired you? Before she does. However, Deviant finishes the final blow on Teska so that he would not betray him. And basically say, hey, I was hired by Deviant. That didn't come out. But Trakeena had some suspicions at this point that, Deviant's been playing at something, and Villamax is going, dude, he can't be trusted. And she believes him, but she kind of needs him at this kind of moment right now. Now, she would continue her attacks on TerraVenture multiple different times using different monsters, even at the point of restoring the Psycho Rangers back to their former glory and sending him after the Lost Galaxy Rangers. Now, the Galaxy Rangers could not deal with the Psycho Rangers at first until the Space Rangers showed up and they combined their forces to wipe them out. However, the Pink Psycho Rangers survived and basically spied on the Pink Rangers as they discovered a powerful sword called the Savage Sword. Now, Psycho Pink went after it and basically killed a certain Lost Galaxy Pink Ranger named Kendrix. Now, they defeated Psycho Pink after a bit, but Kendrix was dead, and her sword was cast off into space as her spirit ascended into the heavens, supposedly. Now, before the sword could be recovered by Astronema, who was actually Corone in disguise, Corone is outed by Trakeena. She goes, that's not Astronema anymore, that's Corone. She's good, she's not evil anymore, who had been purified by the Zordon wave. Now, the villains all attack, and she fights them all off, but Trakeena is unable to steal back the Pink Saber, Quasar Saber, when Kendrick's spirit saved Corone and chose her as the Pink Ranger later on in the episode, making their empty slot filled once more. Now, things got a little more interesting as Deviant, using a spell, pulls TerraVenture into the Lost Galaxy. Thus, the series' name comes forth. Now, Trakeena does not want to follow and basically says, good luck to them. Now, Deviant gets sucked in, and she stays outside, not wanting to, believing that she won't be able to escape. Because at this point, in my belief, she thinks Deviant is trying to capture her in there, and that since he casts a spell, he'll be the only one that knows how to get out. And that means she would have to do what he says. She would be at his beck and call if she ever wanted to escape. And she doesn't like that power. So she goes, eventually he's going to come out, and I'll be ready. Or the Rangers are going to come out because they killed him, and I'm going to be ready. So what the time stamp is a few days, but time dilation, all that, we don't know exactly how long they were actually in there. But we can assume it's been a while because Trakeena probably been preparing her forces, getting all these mental plans, gathering whatever she can, and preparing herself for whenever the portal opens up and she can take out the colony once more. Now, when the colony does emerge, Trakeena destroys the Captain Mutiny's ship, who is pursuing her, basically to show her power of the galaxy, like going, I don't know who you are, but Terra Venture, that's mine, and no one lays claim to it but me. Now, Deviant would return, having escaped the destruction of the castle that was Captain Mutiny's, and claimed he was forced into slavery by Captain Mutiny himself. Now, at this point, she goes, I don't believe you. And she goes, I know you're plotting against me. I know you hired assassins. I put it all together in that time you were gone. And I think you wanted to throw me in that portal too. And so, you know what? I think I'm just going to kill you. He flees for his life, running through the ship, attempting to enter the cocoon, because he goes like, if I get the cocoon, I can get that power, and then I could take her on. However, it didn't make it because Villamax catches up and basically starts fighting him. In desperation, though, when Trakeena arrives, he grabs her and drags her into the cocoon with him, causing them to fuse into a single being. Now, at this point, Trakeena is full powered up. She's not taking any damage. Deviant has taken damage. He just survived the blast from the castle being blown up, and he survived through space and been running, and he's exhausted at this point. So when she emerges into this form, she's emerged alone. It's Trakeena. The body is now bearing some semblance of Deviant's armor, but not fully, and his identity seems to be utterly destroyed. However, the fusion did cause some additional things to happen to her. She became more ruthless and more evil, just as he's been taking on those aspects and deleting all others. Now, that just tells you right there, there's something different. She becomes like super evil at this point. Nothing that you saw previously. Like, she had a plan, she had all these different steps on she was working on. This one, she just doesn't care anymore. Everyone who's in her way is stopping her from gaining power, just like Deviant saw everybody. Now, Trakeena launches a full-scale assault on Terra Venture, arming all her wing stingers with suicide bombs. Yes, she was basically strapping bombs to her own minions and basically going, run at the colony and explode. That is something you'll never see again on anything in Power Rangers after 9/11. I'm going to tell you right now. But like, it is the craziest thing. She went from like somewhat, she didn't really care about her minions, but like she kind of used them as like, okay, they were still resources for her to use to control her empire. She's just become a complete psycho at this point. Now, she brings down Terra Venture with these explosions because of the Rangers. I've never seen this strategy before, going, what the heck's going on? She even destroys the Stratoforce Megazord and the Centaurus Megazord at the cost of her entire army. But it wasn't enough for her. She didn't just want to destroy the Megazords. She didn't want to just bring Terra Venture down. She wanted to kill them all. That is full-on Deviant talking to her, playing into her vengeance and just twisting her words entirely. Now, she does it, she just keeps going, keeps trying to like kill everybody. The civilians, everyone she can, even the forces that are shooting guns at her, she's like, nah, they're all dead. Now, things came to a head when she's ready to destroy the escape shuttles that are caught, they're carrying all of Terra Venture's population. And Villamax is like, dude, I can't do this anymore. Like, I understand fighting fights and fighting like honorable battles against the Rangers and the like, but I can't just go and killing civilians just because you're upset. Like, this is going beyond just evil. This is like another level that I'm not real, like a line I'm not willing to cross. And he lays down his sword. Trakeena goes, fine, and slays him in front of Kegler. And Kegler's like, oh my god, my best friend's dead. What is going on? But he's forced to stick around as Trakeena goes on a mad power trip. Now, things start escalating there because it's enough time in this little fight, this little spat that's going on, the Astro Megaship to catch up and protect the shuttles from Trakeena's forces. Now, Trakeena then changes all of Scorpius' stinger pincers to attack the Megaship, forcing the Rangers to self-destruct it. This causes the ship to basically get caught up in the explosion and crash on the nearby moon, where it is destroyed. Trakeena isn't dead, but she's badly injured. The first real major injury that we see her ever have. With her father's words echoing in her mind, she crawls her way through the ship and goes back to the cocoon and mutates even further into it, accepting all of its immense powers and becoming what her father always dreamed her to be. Now, she's powered up the last remaining engines of TerraVenture and attempts to drop the wreckage of the colonized planet. At the same time, fighting off all 5 of the Rangers. It's like she's just going to work there. She has a plan. She's going to kill all of the humanity and defeat these Rangers. However, she's defeated when Leo uses his battleizer and fires point-blank range into her, sending her flying back and into death. Or so we thought. It is revealed that she actually survived the blast. How? We don't know. But we can expect that maybe someone got her out. We don't know who exactly got her out. It could have been Kegler, could have been anybody. We don't know exactly who got her out. It could be her own minions that survived that were just still loyal to her. She's revealed to have survived and managed to return to her human form. How this is possible, we don't know. She could have just reverted at any point, and it was just her own identity or self-awareness and vainness that caused her to be afraid that it wouldn't happen. But whatever. The kamikaze of the attack that the battleizer did to her left her horribly scarred. She dons a mask. She vowed to make the Galaxy Rangers pay for taking her beauty. It shows the more vain part, less more of the diva part. Maybe that was entirely banished out of her when she fused fully with the cocoon. Everything was kind of purged from her and then reconstructed back. We don't know, but she seems back to her normal first-year state. Now, she decided to destroy not the Galaxy Rangers where they made planetfall, but, their home planet, their home world. She's going right after Earth. Now, in truth, the Galaxy Rangers aren't there, so I don't know why she headed to Earth, but I think, whatever reason, she was there. I don't know the exact reason at all. We just know that it was in the series Lightspeed Rescue, which is taking place on Earth entirely. They have no space issues, no planets. They're fighting demons. Well, she arrives on Earth and makes a deal with a demon named Triskull. Now, she realizes that this demon seems infatuated by her. I don't know why. We don't know why this demon is so infatuated by her and is serving her loyalty and willing to betray his own queen. It could be a whole slew of reasons, but we'll have another video about that entirely. Now, Triskull's been capturing humans and basically sucking the life energy out of them and gathering it up. Now, he's supposed to give it to the demons back in the Skull Cavern so that they could restore the body of their leader, Queen Benshira, to its proper form. However, instead, he's just gathering his energy and giving it all to her, Trakeena, herself. This is his new queen. Now, Trakeena isn't really concerned about the demons, knowing that when she retrieves her full power and has all this power from these human resources, she could basically take on anyone. She could take on Queen Benshira, everyone else that comes into her fight, Olympius. She doesn't care. Like, once she has the power, everything's set. So she'll just hide in secret. And so she tends to hide in secret in this office building on this 13th floor, which is weird because the 13th floor isn't usually named in office buildings at area period. They usually jump between 12 to 14 because it's an unlucky number. So most people either they did put it there and it's just empty because no one really wants it because it's unlucky. So, you know what, that's pretty viable. I understand that. However, her actions soon catch the attention of the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers, who teamed up with the Galaxy Rangers to foil her as a little girl basically escapes and says, there's something weird going on, there's a monster there, and they kind of track down Triskull and then realize that, well, maybe it's someone else, and realize it's Trakeena. Now, all Rangers gather together, do battle against her, and basically blast her pretty hard. Now, Trakeena does fight back and blast them all off the building. Now, however, if it was just the Rangers she had to deal with, she probably could have taken them down. However, things got worse. Olympius kind of didn't trust this Triskull at all, and he's kind of a betrayer himself, so he can kind of see something like this coming, and he sees Triskull's loyalties aren't quite to his mother, and follows and realizes that, hey, Triskull's betraying us, and just tries to control both him and Trakeena along with the Rangers. He's like, I'm going to take out all three. This would be perfect. They're fighting each other. They're weakening each other down. I'll take them all out. To do so, he creates a dagger covered in this strong poison, and he's like, yeah, this will take them down. I don't care what it will take, but I just got to cut Trakeena, the Rangers, and the demon, and I'm going to be on top dog. My mom will basically, be super happy with me. And he does that. He basically sits ready, watches the Rangers do battle, and then he interferes himself against the Rangers and realizes, like, wait. I can't take on 10 Rangers. This is ridiculous. So he kind of steps back and lets his forces go off, and then starts pulling them back as he goes, you know what? If Trakeena destroys them, go ahead, and then he can take care of her. Now, once he sees both sides are fighting, he kind of just slips away. While the same side, Trakeena straps herself in the machine that is siphoning life from the humans and begins to pour it into herself. This is when Olympius decides to show back up, and he decides, you know what, if she wants to absorb those life force, let her, but I'm gonna add something a little extra there. And he basically tosses the dagger into the room, which she allows the machine to draw off the power from the poison and taints the life force, causing Trakeena to lose control of the mutation process. And she starts freaking out. It's becoming energy, and she's becoming energy as she starts growing. She finds her being a giant, monstrous creature that's like part bug, part plant, part demon. It's something like straight out of a Cthulhu-esque eldritch abomination. Now, with this all happening, Olympus goes like, this takes care of her. If she destroys them, well, whatever, we'll just go off there and just delete from later on. And he disappears. Now, but he does watch a little bit as the Rangers combine their forces, all their powers together, and all their Zords, even fusing with the lights of Orion, and destroy her once and for all. She screams in utter horror as her body is entirely ripped apart. Yes, she is ripped apart, guys. That is the end of the mighty Trakeena. Now, did she need to have this story additional here on Lightspeed Rescue? No. I think her best storyline telling was when we got it in Lostgalaxy. That was some of the best storyline. If they came back, I would have thought they would have bring back something like Vengex, what they did with that. But they weren't thinking that far ahead. They were just kind of doing by episode, and I understand that. But I wish if they were going to I wish they would bring her back in some way. I don't care how they do it. They could make some other sense. I don't care. Bring back Trakeena, because she was one of the best villains out there, guys. And to say otherwise, ooh, that's hard. There's very few villains who went through a whole process of growing, descending into darkness further than before because of betrayal after betrayal, fusing up, becoming the monster that she is today. And I think, in truth, the episodes that brought her back in Lightspeed Rescue were just kind of more an insult to the ending monster we got of the master villain who thought of us all as end, became something greater than she was through the helps of Villamax, and then descended into darkness because of her father's death, then her basically betrayal by Deviat, and then him trying to consume her inside the cocoon, and then his wicked nature corrupting her further, utterly consuming her, in truth. I think that was like some of the best storyline telling, and like her just going full off the deep end because of that. And I don't know, I really liked her entire form. All her forms, she had a human form, she had an insect form, and an insect armor form, and they were all great, showing her as a monster. She slowly devolved into a monster. I do like the demon form she got in her final form, but like I really enjoyed her just being the boss that she was in the original series. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think of Trakeena? I know this video had been requested a long time ago, and it took me forever because I was scared to actually do it, because she deserves a lot of respect. And so I didn't want the queen of herself to come back from the dead once again and strangle me for not doing that properly. So thank you guys again for watching, and I hope you guys feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure, guys, if you click the like button, it does help me produce my videos out there. It helps me get other people to like them, and feel free to make any more requests. What do you guys think? Did you like Trakeena? Did you think that the leftover episodes that they used for her in Lightspeed Rescue was necessary? Or am I a complete idiot? Or am I completely right to say otherwise, that they weren't necessary at all? Thank you guys. Have a good one, and may the power protect you always.